In a recent interview with IFL TV about Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn said he thinks already Anthony Joshua would be destroying, and I think he used the word destroying, opponents such as Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora. He said he thinks Joshua is already a level above these kind of guys. I wanted to question that statement because it's one that I disagree with. I'm not saying Joshua can't beat those guys. I'm not saying he's not got the potential, the skill set and the ability to beat those guys. But I think we're getting slightly ahead of ourselves here. If you watch my channel, I recently did a video called the Top 10 Heavyweights on the Planet. Top 10 Heavyweights Rankings. And I said Tyson Fury was the number 2 heavyweight in my opinion, just after Klitschko. And I believe that. I also think Derek Chisora, whilst he didn't make my top 10 list, it's top 15, top 20, that sort of level. And I am yet to see a performance from Anthony Joshua that confirms to me he's on that same level of ability and of the same class. To repeat, that confirms to me he's of the same ability and class. I'm not saying he doesn't have the potential, that he will get there, that he doesn't have the power, the skill set, the ability, but he has not yet got the form and got the experience and proven that he is at that level. He has looked devastating, he has looked powerful, he's looked dominating. 8 fights, 8 knockouts, all inside the first 3 rounds. He's looked very, very good. But so did David Price at this stage of his career. It's easy to get knockouts against a low standard of opposition. It is not easy to get knockouts when you fight the likes of Klitschko, Hay, Helenius, Cunningham, Chisora. These are just some of the opponents that Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora have taken on in the last few years. Anthony Joshua is showing a great deal of power, but he's showing it as a certain level. And that power doesn't necessarily become as relevant when you're fighting a top 10 heavyweight who's got a world-class chin, who's got world-class defence, and he's got world-class movement. I'm not saying that applies necessarily to Fury and Chisora, but Chisora is a guy who went 12 with Helenius, went 12 with Fury, went 12 with Klitschko. He did get stopped by David Hay, but David Hay's one of the biggest punchers in the sport. And I think Joshua's looked absolutely devastating. But what happens if he fights a guy like Chisora, lands clean with a right hand, and it doesn't knock Chisora over, it doesn't knock Chisora out? We take it to stage round 4, round 5, round 6. Chisora's still coming. He's landing bodywork. He's an experienced 12-round fighter who knows how to go to the distance. He's coming on strong as the fight goes on. Anthony Joshua's not got that experience in the bank. He's a very big, muscular guy. How is that muscle going to affect? Is he too muscle bound? It's easy to do the sort of running on the treadmill and the sparring in the gym. But after 10 rounds with that frame, with that muscle, how's he going to be feeling going into round 11 and 12 when his power hasn't been enough to end the fight early? In a way, this is the same reason I have some reservations about Deontay Wilder. It's all well and good to say he looks better than Fury and better than Chisora, but that's because he's fighting a much lower level of opposition. I don't have a problem with him fighting a lower level of opposition because he's a prospect, he's young, he's only had 8 fights. He should be fighting a lower level of opposition. But the fact he's looked devastating and the fact he's knocking people out doesn't necessarily mean it's a better performance than winning over 12 against a world-class heavyweight or a top 15 operator. So I think we're getting slightly ahead of ourselves, or at least Eddie Hearn is, by making a statement like that. And I think before we can say he destroys Tyson Fury or destroys Derek Chisora, we need to see him destroying somebody who's at their level. And I think Matt Skelton Konstantin Eretz, Dorian Darch are not at the level of Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora, and are in fact quite a long way off that level. Joshua has never fought anyone as rugged and as strong in the chin as Derek Chisora, as resilient and tough as Chisora. He has never fought anyone with the size of Tyson Fury, who can move, who can have very good inside work for a big man, who's got experience of doing 12-round fights and staying that distance. These are challenges that he's yet to face. What happens when someone hits back with knockout power? What happens when someone doesn't get buzzed when they get hits on the chin? What happens when someone's a world-class mover? What happens when someone cuts down the ring like Derek Chisora has and hits back? Now, it may well be that Anthony Joshua is the second coming of Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, whatever you want to call him. It may well be he is a class above and will be a dominant world champion. But I have seen flaws in his game. I know a lot of other people have. I question whether he's too muscle-bound, too robotic, too stiff. He doesn't have an elasticity in his jab. He's not light on his feet. He doesn't seem to be a world-class mover. I also question his ability to go 12 rounds. We saw how tired he got in the Olympics. With his size, with his, almost bodybuilder style physique. How will he do over 12? I know people who may not know so much about boxing think that to have a physique like Joshua's is a great asset. But I think a physique like Fury's is better for boxing. You don't want to be weighed down. You don't want to have huge arms, huge chest, unnecessary weight, which means you're immobile, not as light on your feet, not as agile. I'm not trying to hate on Anthony Joshua. I'm a fan of his. I like watching the guy. I hope he's a success. I hope he's the next big thing. But let's get this in some sort of perspective. He's 8-0 against opposition that a lot of top heavyweights would be 8-0 or by knockout over. To say he's at that level already, you can't back that up in my opinion. If he is at that level already, why is he fighting Denis Bakhtov in his next fight? Why are they potentially looking to organise a fight with Michael Sprott if he comes through that? We're not quite there just as of yet, and I think people are getting slightly ahead of themselves. I'm interested to hear people's thoughts. Am I wrong? Is he at the level where we can say, from the form he's already provided, that he would smash Fury and Chisora? Or do people agree with me that he hasn't shown that level of form just yet? He hasn't faced the challenges or got the ring experience just yet. And that particular statement was maybe getting ahead of himself. Thanks for watching.